Hormuz. Trump said U.S. forces on Friday obliterated targets on Iran's Karg Island, which is home to the primary terminal that handles the country's oil exports. Meanwhile, an American official said 2,500 more Marines and an amphibious assault ship are being sent to the Middle East nearly 2 weeks into the fighting. Also, a missile struck a helipad inside the U.S. Embassy compound in Baghdad this morning. More on ongoing missile strikes in the Middle East from correspondent Sam Mednick.
They said they put out most of the fires, but there's still little fires that they're trying to get. So far, no reports of casualties. Now, this is one of several strikes that have come into central Israel on Friday evening. And this is happening as the United States and Israel continue to pound Iran. There were strikes across Iran on Friday. And the war is also intensifying between Israel and Hezbollah in Lebanon. There is no sign so far that any of this is slowing. It's unclear also what the end game is and what it's going to take for this war to be over.
War-related pressure has pumped up the average price of gas to $3.67 nationally, according to AAA. Citing struggling consumers, Connecticut Senator Richard Blumenthal is backing a plan in Congress to suspend the federal gas tax through October 1st.
The bill, co-sponsored by Senator Mark Kelly of Arizona, would suspend the 18.4 cents per gallon federal gas tax. The government would pay for it by transferring money from the general fund to the Highway Trust Fund.
Consumers deserve relief. They're hard-pressed, and these kinds of actions are the least we can do in light of the war in Iran, which is inflicting pain on America.
Connecticut's average is $3.52 per gallon, about 10 cents less than the national average. President Biden tried to suspend the gas tax in 2022, but his bill never made it through Congress. This bill would also crack down on potential price gouging. In West Hartford, Dave Maker, WTIC 1080 News.
2 people are dead in Hebron after what state police call a suspicious incident. Police received a 911 call about a disturbance around 3:30 this morning from a third party at 50 Main Street, Route 66, a multifamily home. State Police spokesman Pedro Muniz.
Troopers arrived on scene and created a perimeter around the residence. The State Police tactical team was requested to assist. Upon their arrival, they made forced entry into the residence. Upon the entry into the residence, it was determined that 2 individuals were found deceased.
No other information has been released since. New Haven officials are asking for the state's help in controlling so-called juice bar nights at local bars, when bars invite 18 to 21-year-olds for non-alcoholic beverages, but police say many of the underage guests ultimately do get served, and the events draw many other younger teens to the streets nearby, where fights ensue. Justin McCarthy is the Elm City's chief administrative officer.
We've had shootings, we've had stabbings, assaults, sexual assaults involving people as young as 15. We've had shooters as young as 15 who are attracted downtown because of the juice bar activity.
North Korea test fired around 10 ballistic missiles, according to South Korea's military.
This was North Korea's 3rd ballistic missile test of the year, while the North's also recently been honing its nuclear-capable cruise missile capabilities. But 10 ballistic missiles in a single test is an unusually high number and appears to send a message amid joint U.S.-South Korean military drills.
That's reporter Alex Jensen in Seoul.
WTIC weather.
For today, we'll start out with a shower in spots this morning. Otherwise, a partly sunny, very windy day with gusts past 40 miles an hour later on. High 47. The wind dies down tonight, clear to partly cloudy, low 27. Tomorrow then cloudy, turning breezy again, 45. Rain returns tomorrow night, low 35. Rain and thunderstorms Monday, 62. Some of those thunderstorms could be gusty into Monday night. Changes over to snow or much chillier for St. Patty's Day. This is Bill Degger in the WTIC Weather Center.
For these stories and more at WTIC.com, I'm Morgan Cunningham, WTIC 1080 News.
Let's take a step back in time to an era when things were built right, built to last, and a handshake meant something. Yankee Home delivers that same craftsmanship still today. It's midwinter, and you can really feel it every time you walk by your old windows. Cold drafts sneaking in, warm air slipping out, and some mornings you can see your breath inside. It's time to call Yankee Home. Yankee Home's energy-efficient, high-quality windows are designed to keep the warm air in and the cold air out all winter long. And every job is done right the first time, never cattywampus. Take advantage of our winter special. Buy 4 or more windows and get free installation or financing options like 0 down and 0% interest. Call Yankee Home now at 1-800-885-HOME. That's 1-800-885-HOME. Or visit yankeehome.com.
Yankee Home makes it easy as can be with our never cattywampus lifetime guarantee. Yankee Home.
On approved credit, restrictions apply.
Odyssey Hartford celebrates Women's History Month. Marian Wright Edelman, founder of the Children's Defense Fund, has dedicated her life to being a fierce voice for our nation's youth. As the first Black woman admitted to the Mississippi Bar, she championed civil rights and expanded Head Start programs to protect the most vulnerable. A Presidential Medal of Freedom recipient, her tireless advocacy continues to shape a fairer future for every child. Celebrating remarkable women all month long. More on the Odyssey app.
Lose weight or stop smoking with hypnosis. Only $59.99 guaranteed. Hypnosis, Saturday, March 14th, Holiday Inn Express in Southington. Weight loss 11 a.m. Stop smoking hypnosis 2 p.m. Register 30 minutes before or at markpatrickseminars.com.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This is WTIC's Computer Talk with Tab, hosted by Eric Semmel and Dennis Halnon of Tab Computer Systems. Interact with Eric and Dennis by phone at 860-522-9842 or email them in the studio at gethelp@tabinc.com. Get help anytime at computertalkwithtab.com. Now, here are Eric and Dennis on WTIC News Talk 1080.
And good morning. This is Computer Talk with Tab. I'm Eric.
And I'm Dennis.
And we are going to be here until 11 o'clock, taking your computer calls, comments, questions, and concerns. And we're going to be lucky enough to have in studio with us Michael Caron. He was on the show with us a few weeks back talking about electricity rates. He was a former commissioner of PURA. And he'll be in here chatting further about how a rate case happens. You know, what is it all? What is the whole process of going through a rate case and, to figure out what these folks are doing to us. And Kathy Piedemonte is also a rate examiner, and she'll be a utility examiner for PURA, so she'll be in here as well, I suspect. But definitely Michael. And so that'll be at 10 o'clock, so stick around for that. I'm looking forward to figuring out how electricity works in Connecticut, because I really don't think we know, considering the let 'em eat cake approach to electricity we have in Connecticut.
I was going to ask you, does electricity work here?
No, it really doesn't. I would think at the rate we're paying, sure doesn't.
Nope.
So stick around for that. So as usual and customary, though, we have some technology news you may want to use.
Well, this is technology that was used by a school district in Illinois.
Oh, to educate the kids?
Yeah, they used AI software that
sounds great. Wait, the AI to help educate the kids?
No.
Oh.
It has nothing to do with teaching.
Oh no! What do they do?
This AI determines residency.
Uh-oh.
And it looks at different records that it can get a hold of, which appear to be pretty extensive, and they can determine whether somebody actually lives within the school district and is entitled to enroll their children.
What, entitled? Okay, yeah. Gotcha.
Now, out in suburban Illinois, or suburban Chicago in Illinois, school district for the town of Alsip, ALSIP.
All right.
They decided that a woman was not living within their town and could not enroll her child because her car had been picked up on license plate readers in Chicago overnight at overnight addresses in Chicago during July and August of a particular year. And they decided based on that she was not a resident.
Wow. And they wouldn't let her kid
and
go
they wouldn't
to school.
enroll her child. Now, there are legal requirements that she had to meet to prove residence.
Yes.
You know, she had to she's got a mortgage within the town, and she's got, you know, utility bills and a whole raft of stuff that you would normally use to establish residency.
Sure.
I mean, you've had to do it, I've had to do it for different things.
Yeah.
And it usually works, but
not in this case.
Not in this case. The school district said, yeah, all that, yeah, we're ignoring that because our AI told us this instead. Wow. And it's not clear whether or not they have revisited this decision or if she's been able to get this appealed or anything like that. Apparently, it's fairly new determination, and things are still churning over there. But the AI that was used is one that I hadn't heard of before. It's called Clear.
But not the airport Clear.
Not the airport security Clear, no. By Thomson Reuters, which is the company that was famous for clamping down on their patent for MP3.
I didn't even remember that.
And GIFs.
Really?
Yeah. But both of those patents have since expired, and they are now public domain.
So here we go. The suburban school system kicks you out. Now, I've always said your kid's future really shouldn't be decided by your realtor. I have found this to be an issue forever. You should be able to choose your school as far as I'm concerned, and don't go to the failing ones. And she didn't want to send her kid to a Chicago school, let's say. Let's just say she does live in Chicago and she is cheating. You know, this is ridiculous. If it's a failing school, you wonder why these kids come out and they can't read, right? So they're using AI to keep you out of the better schools. Why don't you charge her to go? Get a voucher system, and she'll happily pay if she's in Chicago, and take her voucher and pay for your all-SIP school, and everyone's happy.
Right.
And then you can hire more teachers that are better, obviously, in this school, and they can educate the kids better. I mean, I don't understand the difficulty. I can go to any pizza shop and pay for a pizza, but I can't send my kid in America to whatever school I want them to. My realtor is the one that decides that. And in cases way back when, they would steer people. Realtors
they
would.
were doing that. Oh, sure.
Yeah.
And you'll even hear realtors say, you know, I'm going to show you houses in this town because the schools are better.
Of course.
And they are engaging in steering.
Yeah, in that case, but in the old days,
and
they would do
it's
some
not
pretty
like it's
awful
not like
steering.
it's not like the old days where you know, certain people wouldn't be sold houses in certain neighborhoods, but you're still getting the steering effect,
right,
and that's going to affect, you know, the real estate markets in Connecticut.
Right.
There's fallout from that.
We'll see what happens with this. Now they're using AI to make sure you go to the right school. Speaking of AI, sorry guys, I mean our future is all built around AI. This is almost like www all over again. .com bubbles, as it were. Grammarly. So one of Grammarly's experts is suing the company over its identity-stealing AI feature. So basically, there's a journalist called Julia Angwin, and she's filed a class action lawsuit after learning she was included in Grammarly's expert review AI editing feature. And then they never paid her to do that.
Oh,
so the AI is kind of just saying, well, according to Julia, you know, you really should have put a semicolon here instead of a whatever their Grammarly suggestions might be, and didn't ask her permission or pay her to do this. Now, again, AI has been doing this kind of stealing and scraping, and I mean, we've got Green there. David Green from NPR is suing because he's our Karen and Bob AI. And of course, it sounds just like David Green.
No, it did. When I heard that, I'm like, oh wow, okay.
And so, I mean, these people are having their likenesses. She has her hard work as a journalist being stolen and then utilized as if it's her, without being compensated. So I'm not sure with AI. If AI's making so much money, and it's such a good idea, why would you need to do this? Why would you need to steal that from these folks?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's really crazy how these AI companies just think the entire internet and all of the content on it belongs to them.
Yeah.
Even though, I mean, they fully know that there are intellectual property laws.
Right.
I mean, if somebody were to copy their software and then run it on another computer someplace and then sell the service, what would they be doing?
Right.
They'd be suing over that.
Right.
So what they're what they're doing is stealing from content creators in exactly the way that they would never tolerate their own content being stolen.
Right. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So we'll put a link up here. The Verge has got it. It's all over the internet. This is a pretty serious article that's out there, and it really shouldn't be happening. I mean, it should be obvious. I mean, didn't we have Matthew McConaughey that decided to copyright his likeness and copyright everything? We had a story about him recently.
Yeah, we mentioned that.
Yes, and his phrases, whatever phrases. Now, those are phrases that he didn't come up with. He happened to say them.
Right.
But now he's copywriting the phrases that he said. I'm not even sure how that works because he didn't own those phrases. He got paid to say the phrases. But
well, I don't know if he's really serious about staking a claim to them. He's just trying to prevent his own use of them from being used elsewhere.
Right, but that is consent. In other news, you might have heard this, maybe not, but there's an Iran-linked hacking group that has been out there for a while, and they went after a U.S. medical device company called Stryker. And basically, they are saying that they went after this company and wiped all its data, really.
Yeah, this was just to clarify, this appears to be solely what we call in the business a wipe attack. And all it does is delete content from devices.
Sometimes exfiltrate it first.
Well, yeah, but it doesn't appear that that was the goal of this particular attack.
Right, just completely wipe it.
Usually there is content stealing, there are things like ransoming and other stuff. But as far as we know, at least at the moment, that it appears to be limited to being a wipe attack.
And the way they did it, from what we're understanding so far, which may or may not be true, but they got it through Microsoft's Intune. Yeah. So basically, Intune is a tool, and this is what a lot of hackers do, right? They live off the land. They go after the tools that are legitimate tools that geeks like us use all the time to properly configure systems. And basically, they used Microsoft's Intune, which is designed to manage individual workstations. And they somehow got into the command and control level of Intune.
Right.
And told it even if you
go and wipe.
Yeah, go and wipe. And even if you had a BYOD, which is you bring your own device to the office, even your personal device could have been wiped.
Right, because it will delete the account data for that 365 account from the device. It won't disable the device entirely. It just takes that content away.
So this is an interesting story. We have a great article out about it from Krebs on Security. Brian Krebs does an amazing job explaining these types of very technical issues. If you'd like to read that, we link it on our show over at ComputerTalkWithTab.com. But the idea here is that these bad guys are lurking in the infrastructure, right? They obviously have been here for a while. You don't just decide to wake up in the morning as a hacker and just go after Stryker. They probably have been lurking for a while.
Yeah, they had to have been. And they got into the administrative end of their 365 tenant.
Yeah, so I got a feeling there's a lot of lurkers going on. The FBI talked about Salt Typhoon. This is a few years old that we brought that up, where the Chinese are lurking. So our infrastructure is a lot more vulnerable than you think. I don't want to make everybody scared or anything like that. But if they can wipe all the computers at Stryker, what would happen if they wiped all the computers at X? Pick the thing.
Or the Pentagon.
Well, that'd be fine. But we had the issue when they had the ransom attack on that oil pipeline, right?
Yes.
And that was back in COVID time. So we'll put the stories up there for you. We got to step out for a quick break. Rob in Windsor, hang on now in Texas. That's cool. Get online. 860-522-9842 is the number. And then at 10 o'clock, we'll be talking with Michael Karen about how a rate case works. We'll be right back.
Okay. Can we all agree we've had enough of winter? Are we all on the same page? Well, spring might be right around the corner, but we all know March weather can give us pretty much anything. Bob Cox and the WTIC weather team will help you get to spring and the warm days ahead. Don't let the unpredictable March weather catch you off guard. Tune in for Weather on the 8s every morning and afternoon, and throughout the day to stay informed and prepared. Connecticut's most accurate local weather is on WTIC News Talk 1080. And that's something we can all agree on.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. If you've been injured in a car accident, call America's largest injury law firm. For over 35 years, my mission has been to deliver more for our clients, to deliver more for you.
Injured? Dial Pound Law.
Nicholas Russo, 157 Church Street, New Haven, 06510.
Carpal tunnel syndrome.
heart failure that doesn't improve with common medicines. These are some signs and symptoms associated with ATTR-CM, or the cardiomyopathy of ATTR amyloidosis, a serious heart condition with symptoms that get worse over time. Amvuttra, vutrisiran, is a prescription medicine given by a healthcare provider that treats ATTR-CM in adults to reduce heart-related death, hospital stays, and urgent visits. In a clinical study, Amvuttra was proven to help people live longer and have fewer heart-related hospital stays and urgent visits over 3 years compared to placebo. Amvuttra lowers the amount of vitamin A in your blood, which can affect vision. Other side effects include pain in the arms or legs, pain in the joints, and shortness of breath. These are not all the possible side effects of Amvuttra. For prescribing information, call 1-833-256-2748 or learn more at amvuttra.com. Ask your doctor about Amvuttra for ATTR-CM.
Brian Shackman here for CertaPro Painters. I don't know about you, but a fresh coat of paint makes me feel good. That's why you might want to get in touch with the folks at CertaPro Painters. And now is a good time. Ask about their spring sales event. That's 10% off qualifying projects through May the 15th. And they can do inside, they can do outside. They did our kitchen. Man, they were timely, they were clean, and they were so respectful to everybody in our family. CertaPro Painters, by the way, independently owned and operated right here in our community. So schedule your free estimate online at CertaPro.com. Again, that's Certa with a C.
From the Carter Mario Injury Lawyer Studios, visit GetCarter.com.
That's GetCarter.com. This is Computer Talk.
All right, we are back. This is Computer Talk with Tab. I'm Eric.
And I'm Dennis.
And we're here till 11 o'clock, and we're going to thank you guys for getting on the line so early because we do have our guest coming on at 10:05 talking about rate cases in electricity. That'll be interesting. But let's go to Rob in Windsor, now in Texas. What's happening there, Rob?
Hey, actually, it was from Windsor Locks, but that's all right.
All right.
And I talked to you guys many, many times. Yeah, I picked the right winter to move to Windsor Locks, I guess.
I guess so.
Yeah, I've been having this virus warning, Trojan warning, or whatever, popping up. Because I run Chrome and I run Mozilla at the same time. Mozilla on my left screen and Chrome on my right screen. You get both pictures. And my son came over last night. He's kind of a computer. He knows more about him than I know. I used to teach him when he was young, and now he's teaching me.
That's what you want.
I say it again?
That's what you want.
Yep, exactly. Actually, the left screen, I cut it off, unfortunately. We ran the scan last night, and he left because it was still running.
Yeah.
But they said no virus or nothing found. It ran, and it said quick scan, and it ran, and 800,000 files, nothing found.
Yeah.
But as you can see on the right side, it says security warning, and that keeps popping up, and there's some type of AV virus or something that keeps popping up, and it was something that popped up about a Trojan horse on the right screen where I'm running Chrome.
You've got notifications that are coming in from a malicious website in Chrome, and you have a good eye if you see that it's coming from Chrome, because it will show that at the bottom of the notification, but the lettering is kind of small, telling you that it's Chrome. The content of the notice is going to have larger lettering, so it tends to dominate.
So you think it's a scam?
Oh, of course
Malicious?
It's a scam.
Yeah.
Absolutely, it's a scam. All you have to do is go into Chrome settings and look for notifications, and you got to edit. You have to click on site settings. We can post a link to how to do this.
Okay.
But you kind of have to travel down one of these IT rabbit holes in order to get to the right place to turn those off.
Okay. Yeah, because all of a sudden it started popping up, and every 30 to 40 seconds it pops up, and I got to click on it, shut it down, and thinking, what the hell is
That's
this?
it. You should have told us that first, Rob. So did your son not? All right. So we got to teach both of you guys a couple things, especially if it's popping up like this. So basically, this is why we talk about OpenDNS so much. If you were running OpenDNS, guess what would probably not have happened? A, you wouldn't have gone to the site that probably delivered this to you. And B, it wouldn't have allowed the pop-ups to occur because they're malicious too. So configure OpenDNS, and if you need help from your son, have him come over, and both of you guys configure OpenDNS on your systems, because that's what will prevent this from happening. Dennis will put some links up there as far as how to try to clear this out. But if you keep surfing naked, without OpenDNS, you're going to end up at some dark corner of the internet.
Right. I don't do that much surfing. Mostly, I pay my bills with this, and I go to my town's websites to pay my bills and see what's happening in the new town that I live in.
Yeah.
To find stuff to do. Because we moved down here to be with my son because he had a baby last March. Her first birthday's coming up next week.
Congratulations.
And grandma wanted to be with the grandchild, and my son lives a 10-minute walk from my house. So
nice. So have him walk over and start configuring OpenDNS because somewhere you're going or somewhere you went delivered this malware to you. And you need to get rid of it, but even getting rid of it is one step, but you could get it again if you don't run a web filter, which is what OpenDNS is, and it's free.
Okay. OpenDNS is on your computer talk with tabs.
We have a link.
About it.
We have a link to a guide that I actually had to write because the guide that used to exist on OpenDNS's tech support site went away. We'll post a link to that too.
Okay. I know you talked about it a million times and I never did it. Now
look what happened.
Now I'm a victim and I should have done it.
Yeah, you're sitting there looking at 800,000 files for no reason.
Oh, I know. I listen. I've been listening to you guys for 20 years, believe me. And I've called you many, many times when I lived in Connecticut. I used to listen to you every morning. Now I got to get up earlier. I got to get up at 8 o'clock in the morning to listen to you guys. So.
Well, we appreciate you doing it, and we're podcasted, so you can listen to us anytime you want, Rob.
Well, but I can't call you if I listen to you.
No, you can't. No, you
can't. But I appreciate you guys. That's why I got up this morning. I got up at 7:45 to make sure I got you.
I love it.
On early.
Appointment listening on radio.
Because I couldn't call you at 9 o'clock because your 10 o'clock guest would be on, and but you guys are great.
Well, thank you, Rob. Good planning. We love you too.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. So yeah, I mean, surfing without a web filter these days, especially when the OpenDNS, yes, it's free, and I always talk about if it's free, you're the commodity. Really, what happens with the free aspect of OpenDNS is that there's a lot of telemetry that is gathered by Cisco in this case to see what you're bumping into, and what that does is it helps them then help the business communities that are paying for this web filtration, because you're a node on the network and you're coming across stuff, who knows where you're going, right? And so they're going to gather a lot of great data about the bad stuff that's out there so they can build their better mousetrap to protect the rest of us. So in this case, you are a commodity, yes, but they're doing you a favor. And I don't think there's any other data collection that they're doing about you. I couldn't say for certain, but I think they're just simply using the stuff that's out there. And now with all the folks out there, gosh, it's like you guys are now volunteering your networks to be part of hacker DNS services. So the bad guys are actually connecting into your home computers because you're getting paid $20 to do it.
Oh.
I mean, it's just... it's crazy out there. You're not making it easy for us. But in this case, the web defense technology is something you should definitely do.
Yeah.
So we're going to be here for another hour and a half over here at Computer Talk with Tab. Everything we've talked about has been posted already over at computertalkwithtab.com. It's the name of the show.com, which also works. If you follow us on Facebook and you want to be part of the Computer Talk with Tab listener network and you're not a crackpot, just ask and we'll let you in, and you can be part of that community. And of course, the links are posted there. Mike G posts all that for us live. And if you want to follow us on X, the links are there as well. And then coming up at 10:05 this morning, we'll be talking about electricity, because clearly Connecticut doesn't know how it works. We'll be right back.
And now, a WTIC news update.
9:30 Hartford, temperature is 41 degrees. I'm Morgan Cunningham, WTIC 1080 News. President Trump wants Iran to open the Strait of Hormuz back up or else risk U.S. strikes against its oil targets on an island that serves as Iran's key oil exporting hub. The president says the U.S. obliterated the military protections on that island Friday. This as U.S. officials tell CBS News 5,000 Marines and sailors are being sent to the Mideast from Japan. journey that could take about 2 weeks. Gas prices are up again, with AAA reporting $3.67 averages nationally and $3.57 averages in Connecticut. Both are up about a nickel in the last day. Norwich police make an arrest in the case of a trench collapse that buried a plumbing worker in the city last June. They're charging 51-year-old Amilcar de Andrade of Preston with reckless endangerment. Revolution Wind, Connecticut's first offshore wind farm, is officially producing power being sent to Connecticut. Though not fully up to speed yet, Governor Lamont is heralding this moment as a way to diversify electricity sources to Connecticut, while his Republican gubernatorial opponent, Betsy McCoy, argues there will be higher costs associated with wind production. And Hillary Clinton launches some merch that is tied to her Epstein deposition. During a heated moment over a photo release during that deposition, she said, quote, "Hold me in contempt until the cows come home." Now you can buy that on a hat with a cow logo.
WTIC weather.
In the wake of a shower in spots this morning, we'll turn partly sunny and very windy for today. We'll have gusts past 40 miles an hour from this afternoon into the early evening. That can blow around unsecured objects outside with a high of 47. Tonight, the wind dies down, clear to partly cloudy, a low of 27 overnight. Your day tomorrow, cloudy, turning breezy, again, high 45. Then rain arrives late tomorrow night, low 35. That rain continues through the day on Monday. Could even be a thunderstorm. Gusty winds are up to 62. Behind a cold front, the rain ends as snow early Tuesday morning, a windy, colder day with temperatures falling into the 40s and 30s, and we won't get out of the 30s by Wednesday, and we're still in the 40s on Thursday with a couple of days of dry weather ahead expected for the middle and end of the new week. This is meteorologist Bill Degger in the WTIC Weather Center.
And I'm Morgan Cunningham, WTIC 1080 News, with more Computer Talk with Tab next.
It's Sarah Samuels, co-host of Retirement Income Source, heard Sunday mornings at 9:30 a.m. and again at 12:30 p.m. In retirement, you know it's all about the income, and that's real income generated from interest and dividends. Each week, David Scranton and I discuss ways you can help maximize income generation in your retirement strategy so you can make the most of your golden years. Tune in to the Retirement Income Source Sundays at 9:30 a.m. and 12:30 p.m.
Retirement Income Source with David Scranton is a paid program.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-9834. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-9834. That's 800-575-9834. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
When a contractor needed to quickly lock down valuable equipment on site, they called the leader in mobile storage, Eagle Leasing. We delivered a clean, watertight storage container exactly where they needed it. Call 1-800-GET-EAGLE or go to eagleleasing.com. You see us everywhere. We're Eagle Leasing.
When a contractor needed convenient office space on their job site, they called the leader in mobile offices, Eagle Leasing. The next day, we delivered a clean, high-quality office trailer and put it exactly where they needed it. Call 1-800-GET-EAGLE or go to eagleleasing.com. You see us everywhere. We're Eagle Leasing.
We know you're on Facebook, so we might as well be Facebook friends. Connect with WTIC News Talk 1080.
Oh, wow. We're back.
What happened?
Joey's running the controls back there. He had a radio brain fart.
Can you say that word over the air?
Of course you can.
I guess you can.
Of course you can. We're going to be here till 11 o'clock. Feel free to get online. 860-522-9842. We'll be talking with Michael Karen of Pura and talk about how a rate case is made. You might have seen this in the news. I saw it recently. It was at the Hartford Business Journal. Eversource warns proposed community solar bill could add $6 billion to Connecticut ratepayers' costs over the next 20 years. So the House Bill 5471, was in a public hearing Thursday before the General Assembly's Energy and Technology Committee. And the Eversource says the testimony argues the bill is riddled with legal, financial, and technical problems that would ultimately harm the ratepayer it purports to help. This is coming from the electric company, right?
Oh, okay. Because they want to help us so much to begin with, right?
Yes, they do. That's what they say, Dennis. So it's going to, here's the thing, right? The bill would direct PURA to establish a clean energy program by December 2026, allowing private companies, municipalities, and cooperatives to build and operate solar installations or battery storage facilities and sell subscriptions to the rest of us.
Because we need more solar arrays and battery arrays too, right?
I don't know what we need, Dennis, because whatever we're doing now is costing too much.
I'm not sure about that myself either, but okay.
Subscribers would receive credits on their utility bills based on their share of the system's output without needing to install any equipment on their property. Participation would be capped at 600 megawatts per year. And so basically, Eversource administers several existing clean energy programs, says the bill's 600 megawatt cap annually would allow more than 3 times as much generation capacity. The increase would lead to more than $300 million annual net costs, the utility argues. And basically, it's going to go after those folks who are still part of the system, who are paying the standard rate for Eversource. If you're buying less of their expensive energy, then whoever's left buying that expensive energy is going to pay more.
Right.
Now, Eversource is warning of a potential death spiral. Ooh, that's scary. That would push standard service customers toward retail suppliers. As more customers leave, costs would concentrate on fewer remaining ratepayers. Same thing with like water utilities. You try to conserve water. I think I told you I was on the board of water commissioners.
Yeah.
If you buy less water, guess what we got to charge? More for the
water that you do sell.
Because the actual infrastructure doesn't change, the people managing it doesn't change, the insurance doesn't change. Yes, we have a little less cost in chemicals to treat the amount of water you're not using, but guess what? The rates go up.
Yep.
So the funny thing here is the proponents of the bill, here's the reason they're doing it. They argue the model extends the benefits of renewable energy to renters, low-income households, and others who cannot install rooftop panels. That is the dumbest sentence I have ever heard. And here's why. These people who are saying they're going to let low-income folks who can't afford their electric bill now participate in a green energy program, and the reason they can't afford electricity now is because of the other green energy programs that we're paying. What ding-dong thinks they're going to be like, oh yeah, sign me up for that? I mean, they can see their breath in their apartments in the same way my own kid can. You know, that's the reason you're pushing this. I want to see competition, definitely. And if this offers competition and Eversource is whining about it, I don't know that I mind. But that's
right.
It needs to make sense, and it shouldn't cost us more. If it costs us more, then the math doesn't make any sense.
And you shouldn't be doing it, right?
And I'm not the sharpest tack in the drawer. We already pay the second or third highest electricity rates in the country. And they want to do this as a way for low-income folks to be able to participate in the lunacy that's killing us now? I come on, man. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But that's just lunacy to me. We'll put the link up to the story from the Hartford Business Journal. But directing PURA is, again, the issue, and that's why we're having Michael Karen in here. PURA is like a victim of this stuff.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, when people complain about what PURA does, you got to remember they're following orders.
They're following orders from the legislature.
They're like a military unit. They take orders from the people who issue them. In this case, it's the legislature.
Right. And here we are. So yet another possibility. Now, I don't know if I trust what Eversource is saying on this article or not.
Yeah, you have to point that out.
But
there is a little self-interest here.
But to say low-income people want to actually participate in solar panels on their roof, that's just crazy. Let's go to Adam in East Hartford next. What's happening, Adam?
Gentlemen, I listen to the show faithfully. If you're going to call up, you have questions now and then, you want to, return the favor by listening faithfully. Hey, I got a comment, and then also I can make a question out of it. I've talked to you about hacks before and scams, and somebody trying to pull a fast one.
Maybe. Yeah, I believe you.
Yeah, one time it was with my bank, somebody didn't try to steal the account, thank God. But this time, many, many years ago, and I'm not preaching here, but I used to go to some Christian singles events, and the point being, we had gotten a false hack on our cell phone saying that one of the gals that led the singles group was stuck as a missionary in another country and needed money right away.
Yeah.
And so that was an interesting scam. Well, there was this lady, not that this is important, but a Christian lady I knew that her ex-husband was Jewish, and she came to our New York area Christian singles events down in Danbury.
Yeah.
And I just got an email from her, and it just said, you're invited to something, click on this.
Yeah, don't do that. Anything that's so sketchy, that's way too sketchy.
And I haven't talked to the lady in 10 years. One time, her and I, we met for the Celtic concert at that church in Hartford and had a meal at the Applebee's in Southington 10 years ago. But then I haven't heard from her in 10 years, and I get an email like that. You know what I mean?
That's the kind of stuff you got to be careful with.
Definitely.
So it's a scam, Adam.
My brother, he's not crazy that I use the library to check email, but they do send me a cell phone text. Is that a good double-factor protection system?
Well, when you're using a public computer like that to read your email, if somebody else before you, in the old days we would warn people about if some hacker sat there at the library and loaded a keylogger on that computer, they could be reading your email too. So when you're using a public tool like that, I wouldn't do anything personal on it. I would use it as a resource, like an encyclopedia, but I would never use it as a tool to look at my email or my anything.
Yeah, and I definitely wouldn't do any banking on it or anything like that.
No. I'm glad you pointed it out, because what about if I'm sitting in the library chair and I use their Wi-Fi in my personal cell and cover everything? Is that still a little risky or not as much?
No, it is. It's so any kind of public area that you're using the public Wi-Fi, in an airport, in a library, there could be another guy literally sitting in the chair next to you with a tool scanning the network to see who's on it and what they're doing.
Right.
And it's called Wireshark. It's a public tool. Anybody can use it. And so when you're in a public area, I wouldn't do anything on their network, period, unless you had a VPN. So if you establish a VPN, then you can do what you want.
Yeah.
I wouldn't transfer funds out of your 401k to your
No, you ain't going to be doing that.
Yeah. But yeah, any public area Wi-Fi, I would recommend you never use Wi-Fi if you can avoid it anymore. Your cell service is pretty much capped. You get quote-unquote unlimited Wi-Fi to the point where if you're paying $30 a month for most services for good Wi-Fi, it's all you need. You shouldn't even have to be doing any kind of public Wi-Fi these days for anything.
Yep.
Avoid it.
All right. Well, hey, thanks for always keeping us safe, and I will keep listening to the program, all right?
All right. Thanks, Adam.
Have a nice day.
You too. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. So, yeah, I mean, any kind of public Wi-Fi these days is an issue, so be careful. Let's go to Joe in Berlin. What's happening, Joe?
Good morning. Good morning.
Morning.
Hey, I got a comment on your opening statement there about the kid going to school.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we're bordering on political stuff here.
Of course. Yeah, but the technology is being used, but I can still have my opinion.
Well, okay. but who's going to pay for the school? That's the issue there.
Yeah, that'd be the voucher concept. If you were able to get a voucher from Chicago, you go pay for your public school service in Aslip, or whatever it's called.
Yeah, okay, I agree with that.
Yeah.
All right, anyhow.
You're yelling at me, but you agree. There we go. I love it.
well, no, we got to pay for what we use.
Of course. Of course.
No
free lunches here, Joe. The only thing that's free here is our show.
It is.
Oh, hey, before I forget, you know what? You're talking about, using public computers.
Yeah.
At work, we cannot use a wireless mouse or wireless keyboard.
Interesting.
Everything has to be hardwired.
Oh.
Because
hacking.
Somebody could be, hacking.
Yeah, you're right. We've had stories like that. We've talked about it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
Anyhow.
Are you launching the space shuttle or something, Joe, where you work?
Yes.
Awesome.
On my personal, computer at home, I have a hard drive. I have a C, a D, and an F.
Mm-hmm.
When I first got it, I only installed Windows on Drive C. I don't save any information to it or anything else like that. I don't use it other than for the operating. I'm getting a warning now saying that it's getting full.
Yep.
Full of what? I don't know. How do I clear it out?
Full of Microsoft.
Well, I think you may not be saving your own private data to it, but I think there probably is a user profile on there for you, and that is probably accumulating data.
Mm-hmm.
There are a bunch of techniques to look at, where it's going and what is being built up. We can post an article about how to go about finding what is taking up all that space and maybe getting rid of some of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then it'll give you a chance to analyze your drive and figure out what's going on.
How old is the machine, Joe?
Oh, I can't upgrade it to Windows 11 last year.
You upgraded to Windows 11 last year, you said?
I cannot.
Oh, you can't? It's that old.
No. Yes, sir.
All right.
But it still works just good. And I have everything backed up. I'm religious about backing up my information.
That's good. Do you have the ESU, the extended security update, so that you can still get these security protections?
Yes, I do.
Okay, good. All right. So yeah, we'll put a link up here to see how you can clear it out. You've definitely built up probably a large profile and a lot of stuff over the years that need to be cleared out. You probably had a smaller hard drive to begin with, so it does make sense.
Well, it's a little over a terabyte.
Yeah, but you said it was partitioned into a C and a D, right?
No. I have physically.
Oh, they're physical drives.
Physical drives.
Oh.
So it's a 1 terabyte
Correct.
C drive, and you're running out of space, and you didn't save anything?
Yep.
That's unusual.
Yep. Thank you.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. So, I mean, it could be a profile, but we were thinking it'd be that's where Dennis was going. He was thinking it was maybe a smaller C drive, and you're filling it up with a
but
terabyte.
Either way, the article that we're going to post about it is going to give him the tools he needs to find out what's going on.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
I would appreciate it.
All right, Joe.
I want to keep this thing till it dies.
All right. That's that.
Okay.
That's the old way to do it. I appreciate it. All right. You're welcome.
Thank you very much. And hey, keep up the good work. I love your show.
We'll try.
Thank you for listening.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
All right, bye-bye. So, yeah, you can run out of space even with a terabyte drive, and you don't even know what you're putting on it. That's kind of unusual, though.
Yeah. Well, hey, my Windows computer at home has a 1 terabyte C drive.
Mm-hmm.
And that's starting to fill up, and I've already been taking a look at, where it's all going and why it's there.
All right.
I just have a lot of programs installed.
Well, yeah.
That's one of the
You're
issues.
a geek. He didn't make it sound like he was doing any of that. So we're going to be here till 11 o'clock, so feel free to get online before the 10 o'clock hour. And then at 10 o'clock, we have Michael Karen from Pura coming in to talk about a rate case so you can understand how, maybe a little better, the electric rates are hitting us the way they are in Connecticut. So we'll be right back.
This is an important public service announcement for our listeners. Reese on the Radio is also a podcast. You can find us anytime on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Catch the full episode, listen by individual hour, or jump straight to the highlights. Just open up your favorite podcast app, search Reese on the Radio, and hit the follow button so you can get every minute of the show your way and on your time.
If you owe back taxes, listen carefully to rule number 1. Never go up against the IRS alone. They're cracking down, freezing bank accounts, garnishing paychecks, canceling passports. Even your home or business could be at risk. But here's what they don't tell you. The IRS has powerful tax relief programs that could save you thousands if you qualify. That's why smart people call Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax resolution firm. Nobody knows these programs like the experts at Optima. Their team of tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $2 billion in tax debt for people just like you. The IRS is not stopping, so don't wait and don't take them on alone. For tax help you need, for tax help you can trust, call Optima today for a free consultation.
Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Wisdom teeth giving you trouble? Columbia Dental's expert oral surgeons specialize in comfortable and efficient wisdom tooth removal. Open 7 days a week. Call 860-645-0111 or visit ColumbiaDental.com.
Let's take a step back in time to an era when things were built right, built to last, and a handshake meant something. Yankee Home delivers that same craftsmanship still today. If your bathroom has moldy corners, dingy grout lines, broken tiles, and rust stains, it's time to call Yankee Home. You can have a brand new, bright, beautiful bathroom in as little as 1 day. From design to demo, plumbing to final product, our team will transform your bath fast. Every job is done right the first time. Never cattywampus. Take advantage of our winter special with 50% off installation plus 0 down and 0% interest. Call Yankee Home at 1-800-885-HOME. That's 1-800-885-HOME. Or visit yankeehome.com. That's yankeehome.com.
Yankee Home makes it easy as can be with our never cattywampus lifetime guarantee. Yankee Home.
On approved credit, restrictions apply.
Because you've got better things to do when you get home than sit and watch the news. We have your local news at the top and bottom of every hour, all day on WTIC News Talk 1080.
All right. We are back, and raring to go. Feel free to get online between now and 10 o'clock. We'll do our best to help you out with your computer problems, comments, questions, and concerns. 860-522-9842. And do you have anything you want to talk about there, Dennis, before we wait for calls?
Yeah, I wanted to bring up something that we had mentioned a while back. It might have been like a year ago or maybe even more.
Oh, it's a Paul Harvey story, the rest of the story kind of thing?
Yeah, a little
right.
bit. We talked about Adobe charging cancellation fees for their subscription plans because they don't sell software anymore. You have to subscribe to it.
Major cancellation fees, right?
Once you've started, if you cancel, you have to pay a fee. And in some cases, they make it difficult to even cancel at all anyway.
Right.
What we had discussed a little bit more ago, was a Department of Justice case against them, a lawsuit that had been filed. Yeah. Well, that's just been settled.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they finally settled it after all this time. Adobe pinky swears they won't engage in the same practices again, and of course they deny that they did anything wrong in the first place. But it's back to business as usual, I'm sure, at some point.
Yeah, but they've settled.
There you go. Yeah,
they've settled and said, all right. Yeah, cancellation fees, to get rid of something you don't want. It's in our industry too, as MSPs, managed service providers. I always joke to my prospects and my customers, you can fire your lawyer, you can fire your doctor, you can fire your accountant, but you can't fire your IT guy? And MSPs lock companies in to multi-year expensive monthly support services that if you decide you don't like these guys and gals for whatever reason, you have to pay massive fees to exit. Now, Adobe just found out that that's not cool.
Right.
Why is it a thing in MSP land? Why is it that I can fire my doctor, fire my lawyer, fire my accountant? Nope, they don't hit me with fees, but my IT company is allowed to say, well, this is lost revenue, and I'm going to collect the year and a half left on your contract because I said I could in the contract you signed. Well, I would recommend people read your contract because you shouldn't be doing that.
That's number one. I mean, you got to keep your eyes open when you go into these agreements in the first place.
But so as Adobe has found out, not cool. And I'm hoping the MSP industry finds it out too. Tab has never locked any clients ever into a contract. We simply earn their business every month. We realize that sometimes it may not be perfect, right? That's how stuff happens. But in the case of our competitors, you're stuck with them, even if you hate their guts. And you just can't get rid of them unless you pay a massive fee, which is typically the remainder of the contract itself that you said you were going to buy. So they sell it to you, and they're going to get paid, and they can walk away and do whatever they want. And It should be just like Adobe found out. It shouldn't be something that exists in our industry, but it does. Every other professional industry that I know of doesn't lock you in this way. So what are these MSPs afraid of? Are they afraid of earning your business? I mean, we know IT problems are trouble.
They are.
Very frustrating.
They are.
Nobody calls us up and says, everything's great. Nice to chat with you guys. Right? And when you remind them that you kept everything great, they don't realize that that's what they're paying for. But
right.
They only call you up when you're having a problem.
Yeah.
But that's the nature of our business. So.
Yeah, that's how it is.
Anything else you want to bring up there, Dennis, before we go to the top of the hour?
Well, I was hearing about here's another fallout story.
Yeah.
We heard about the Salesforce tenants that were getting hacked.
Yes.
Majorly. Several months ago.
Yep.
And a lot of them were. Mm-hmm. Well, another one finally was revealed. Mm-hmm. There's another wave of companies that were hit because of the Salesforce breach a long time ago. And these are the companies being hit now are not ones that were hit originally in the breach.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It's now fallout because of the data that had been gained by the scammers. They're now using it for other purposes.
Wow.
And every once in a while when we hear about one of these major breaches, I'll say, we're going to continue to hear about this because, 6 months from now, a year from now, 2 years from now, we're going to hear about something that happened because of this data that got into the hands of hackers.
Right, and they're going to leverage it against you.
Yeah, exactly. We got more of this.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate, but with these major breaches open the door for long-term, as in years of breaches. As a matter of fact, LastPass.
Again.
Now, what's happened with them recently is somebody is spoofing them. They're sending out emails that look like they're coming from LastPass. They aren't from LastPass. There's no breach there right now. But they're using the data that they got from the LastPass breaches in the past, and they're using them to gin up these emails and try to, get back into these password vaults.
Right, because they're going to trick you into putting in your password, your master password is what they're going to trick you to do.
And they know that you were a customer because you were part of this breach in the past.
Yeah, that's the issue.
These things keep coming back. Years later, they keep coming back. It's terrible.
It is. It's not what we got in the business for, is it, Dennis?
No, not at all.
So we're going to be here till 11 o'clock, and we're looking forward to our guests from Pura coming up. So Michael Karen, and we think also Kathy Piedamonte will be joining us to talk about how a rate case works, as far as how we get to where we are, maybe with rates and electricity rates, and how Pura adjudicates it or deals with it, however you want to call it. They're going to be in studio to try to explain how electricity works in Connecticut. Hopefully it won't make your hair hurt, but since it's the base requirement for a computer, let's start there.
Yeah.
We're going to be right back.
Mariota here. Let me share Brian's story from Alabama, my mom's home state. He tells us after taking Relief Factor for just 3 weeks, at least 90% of my pain is gone. My pain had started to limit me at work and at home, and now I'm amazed at how much relief I've gotten, end of quote. These are Brian's own words, and they speak volumes about what Relief Factor can do for you. I've told you about my buddy Tom, an avid golfer, out on the green almost every single day. He says without Relief Factor, he wouldn't be able to swing freely because of shoulder pain or back pain. But since taking it, he said he stayed active, comfortable, and confident in his swing. He is a scratch golfer. That's why I encourage you to try Relief Factor yourself and see what it can do for you. Don't wait. If you're dealing with daily pain, launch your 3-week quick start and see what Relief Factor can do for you. 800-4RELIEF, 800 the number 4RELIEF, or go to relieffactor.com. That's relieffactor.com. How will it feel to be out of pain? 800-4RELIEF, relieffactor.com.
This is WTIC News Talk 1080 with Brian and Company in the morning, Reese on the radio in the afternoon, and news around the clock. WTIC and WTIC FM HD2 Hartford and Odyssey Station.
10 o'clock, good morning. I'm Morgan Cunningham, WTIC 1080 News. Connecticut is celebrating Revolution Wind, starting to generate power for the state. Governor Lamont, in a statement this morning, says it's diversifying the state's energy infrastructure. But his Republican gubernatorial opponent sees it differently. Betsy McCoy argues it's a more expensive form of electricity. The offshore wind site has also been controversial in recent months, with the state of Connecticut fighting the Trump administration's stop work orders in court. The president takes to social media with an update on the war with Iran. This is correspondent Juliette Goodrich.
President Trump announced on Truth Social that U.S. Central Command, quote, totally obliterated every military target on Iran's Karg Island in the northern Persian Gulf. Trump went on to say that he chose not to wipe out oil infrastructure on the island, but said he would reconsider if Iran does anything to interfere with, quote, the free and safe passage of ships through the Strait of Hormuz.
At least 13 military members have died since the conflict started about 2 weeks ago. Connecticut Senator Richard Blumenthal is concerned about the spreading of hate speech against Jews and other groups in the U.S. while the war continues.
At a time of rising Islamophobia and anti-Semitism, Blumenthal says U.S. leaders should be setting the tone.
We have to make common cause against hate of all kinds, and I think we need stronger hate crime laws, but also vigilance at this moment.
He's concerned the torrent of hate and world events could spark more violence in the U.S., as seen in Michigan and Virginia.
There are reports, and they're credible, about the possibility of terror attacks inspired by Iran and perhaps supported by them in this country.
Blumenthal says he has no specific intelligence related to potential attacks on Connecticut. In West Hartford, Dave Mager, WTIC 1080 News.
3 homicides have been logged in Hartford so far this week. The number is 5 in less than a month. City police shot 2 knife-wielding men who were, according to their families, experiencing mental health crises. City resident Carl Adams on WFSB says there are too many kids with easy access to firearms.
Anybody could grab a gun. 12, 13 years old? No. We got to bite that finger, that trigger finger, say enough is enough. No child left behind. I'm so tired of hearing it.
The latest fatal shooting happened Thursday night when 49-year-old Windsor resident Colin Roberts was found shot on Albany Ave. The state legislature is expected to act on bills later this session on measures tied to absentee voting and preventing intimidation at the ballot box. Some are concerned with the suggestion from the Trump administration that local and state elections be nationalized. At Friday's hearing of the Government Administration and Elections Committee, Callie Hellman with the group Bridgeport Generation says that her city has become synonymous with fraud in recent years and says that needs to be addressed.
It is past time that the state of Connecticut do away with the circulation of absentee ballot applications. The application process is the gateway drug for ballot harvesting that happens not just in Bridgeport, but in communities across the state. As they say, where there's a will, there's a way.
The FBI is warning Steam users that they may have been exposed to malware through some game downloads. Tech contributor Ian Schur.
As one of the most popular online services for video games, Steam is a key target for malware makers. What's notable about the FBI's notice is that the games involved weren't particularly popular. The FBI says that anyone who installed those games over the last couple of years may have been victimized and should reach out.
Among the impacted games were Blockbusters, Lampy, and Pirate Fi. And what are some of the popular spring break destinations this year?
Based on travel booking data, AAA finds that flights to spring break domestic hotspots are 2% more expensive than last year, averaging about $815 for round-trip tickets. Many are flocking to Florida. Orlando, Fort Lauderdale, Miami, and Tampa are among the top 10 most popular domestic spring break destinations. Flights to the most popular Caribbean and international destinations are slightly cheaper this year compared to 2025, averaging around $1,300 round trip. Jennifer Kuiper, CBS News.
WTIC weather.
Today we'll start out with a shower in spots this morning, otherwise a partly sunny, very windy day with gusts past 40 miles an hour later on. I-47, the wind dies down tonight, clear to partly cloudy, low 27. Tomorrow then cloudy, turning breezy again, 45. Rain returns tomorrow night, low 35. Rain and thunderstorms Monday, 62. Some of those thunderstorms could be gusty into Monday night. Changes over to snow or much chillier for St. Patty's Day. This is Bill Degger in the WTIC Weather Center.
We've got another hour next of Computer Talk with Tab. I'm Morgan Cunningham, WTIC 1080 News.
Brian Jackman here for Serta Pro Painters. It's time. We're about to go to springtime, and the spring sales event could get you 10% off qualifying projects through May the 15th. And Serta Pro, those folks are awesome. They're independently owned and operated right here in our community. They did my kitchen. They were there on time. The estimate was excellent, and they did, by the way, a great job. Serta Pro Painters. Schedule your free estimate online at certapro.com. That's Serta with a C.
Just hearing the word IRS can make people break out in a cold sweat. No one wants to deal with the IRS, and now you don't have to. The good news is Legal Tax Defense has been successfully negotiating with the IRS for more than 15 years. It doesn't matter how much you owe, whether it's $5,000 or $5 million. You deserve the best in the business on your side, and that is Legal Tax Defense. Even if you're working with someone else and just want a second opinion, there is no cost or obligation to call. They can prevent levies, liens, wage garnishments, even file back tax returns. And the best news about Legal Tax Defense is they won't take your case unless they know they will reduce or eliminate your tax debt. Call Legal Tax Defense right now for a free no-risk consultation. 800-265-7681. 800-265-7681. You have nothing to lose but everything to gain. 800-265-7681.
All the audio that matters to you is on Odyssey. Odyssey has news that hits home in your local area and around the country. Get local news, traffic, and weather from stations near you. Get national news from CNN, Fox News Radio, and more. And explore the biggest news podcasts like The Daily Punch, Pod Save America, and The Daily, AUDACY. Find all the news that matters to you in a universe of audio. Odyssey.
This is WTIC's Computer Talk with Tab, hosted by Eric Semmel and Dennis Halnon of Tab Computer Systems. Interact with Eric and Dennis by phone at 860-522-9842 or email them in the studio at gethelp@tabinc.com. Get help anytime at computertalkwithtab.com. Now, here are Eric and Dennis on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Yes, and good morning. This is Computer Talk with Tab. I'm Eric.
And I'm Dennis.
And we're lucky enough to have in studio Michael Caron, former PURA commissioner. You there, Michael? Make sure you're on this.
I'm here. Good morning.
All right, sound good. And Kathy Piedemonte, who's also was a utility examiner.
Correct.
And you explained it to me as you're an accountant for electricity rates kind of thing?
Yes, exactly. I'm my job pretty much was a forensic type of accounting, looking at the utility company financial statements.
Gotcha.
For a rate case.
Sounds like fun.
Is that what you do?
So we've got these folks in the studio with us because, when we have Michael on, we got a lot of great feedback about discussing how PURA comes up with the rates, how electricity, the whole electricity compact that happened back in Chicago. I found that very interesting. And Michael said, hey, why don't we come back and talk about how a rate case works? And I got like 30 pages of info that he just gave me. It will make your hair hurt. But Michael, you're gonna let's start first with what is a rate case?
It's a good question. What a rate case is, so people think that the authority gives the utilities money and they go spend it. It's actually the opposite. Investors put money into this concern. They buy generating plants, wires, transformers, towers, office buildings, trucks, pay people, and then they come to us and say, we made all these decisions, these provide the service that we're obligated to do. Anyone that asks for electric service, they get electric service.
Yep.
And then they ask us, what we do is we act as an economic regulator, so there's no competition, obviously.
Yeah.
So we step in to force them to act competitively. So we look at all the costs and see, have they done what a normal company would have done in a competitive environment? Did they go out and get a number of quotes? Do they have the best vendor? And are they providing both through managerial, technical, and financial ability, their ability, would they do what a prudent, reasonable manager would have done in the private sector?
That's a heavy lift.
It is, because it's extensive, and I gave you also a copy of a table of contents
Yeah.
of the what rate case was this? The last United Illuminating rate case.
Mhm.
It's 3 pages of a table of contents,
Right.
and a 259-page decision. And so the utility has the opportunity, not a guarantee, of earning a certain return on the equity that they've invested.
Mm-hmm.
If they're not reaching that rate of return, the revenue is degrading versus the costs that they're seeing. In the meantime, they're continuing to invest in the plant. We want a safe, reliable system at least cost. And
At least cost.
At least cost.
There you go.
A lot of people like to say affordable, and a lot of people say, my bill's not affordable.
It sure isn't.
But we try to get it at the least cost, and we try to force them to find the best deals they can without
cutting corners?
Cutting corners and making the system unsafe and or unreliable.
All right. Well,
I hope, the closest bumper sticker I ever got to was, at one point in time, we got a bunch of rich people to invest all their money into these things, wires, transformers, generating plants, and we promised to pay them back over the course of 40 or 50 years and give them 9 or 10% for the use of that money.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of it.
Okay. So that's the idea. That's what a rate case is. So you guys have to figure all this out as rank amateurs. You have never done this before, or is this something you get trained for?
No one trains to be a utility regulator. Not nobody, but I know we do have some courses, I think, at Southern Connecticut State University and some other places. But almost everyone you meet in the utility world never had an intention of being in the utility world.
Gotcha.
But it is addicting, believe it or not. For a business with a lot of dry subject matter, there's seldom, if ever, a dull moment.
I can believe that, especially with these big, massive systems. And then, of course, with Kathy involved, after you guys come up with a rate case, you actually then make sure that they're right? You forensically look at that?
Well, actually, when the companies file their rate case applications with us, as Pura staff, what we would do is we would go through their financial statements, just as Michael had stated. So if they're spending, $1 million on a particular expense, we would want to make sure that that $1 million was actually justified and spent in a prudent manner. That's a word that we use a lot. Make sure that the spending was prudent. People equate it to the, gold-plated toilets. It was as that Pentagon, I guess, years ago.
Right.
So we just want to make sure that the utilities are spending appropriately and not just willy-nilly, if you will.
Okay.
And by the way, when we say application, we're not talking about 4 or 5 pages. We'd like this much, and here's what we're doing, and we're going to spend this much in the future.
Right.
It's literally a series of volumes of books, of schedules, accounting schedules, that is, this right, about 2 feet high-ish?
What?
2 feet high.
2 feet
2
high?
feet high. That's the application.
You could use AI now, just have it ingested into Notebook LM and have Bob and Karen explain it to you now.
Maybe that's something in the future, but for the meantime, it's going through, and our staff would go through all of those documents.
Right.
Some are illustrative, but somebody had to go through it, whether it was the customer service, whether it was rates and regulation, or there's people that looked over the depreciation. The depreciation schedules take us almost a full day of public hearings to go through that, cross-examining the utility, both with the Office of Consumer Counsel and sometimes the Attorney General's office, and our own staff and other interveners who may join in the rate case.
All right. So you wanted to kind of explain this process, and you've got all these flow charts. What do you think our listeners would want to understand about this process? Where would you want to start with it?
Well, one is that I know I've heard for many years, all you guys do is rubber stamp whatever they ask for. They ask for more, and then you give them a little less than that, and it's some big deal you cooked up.
Right.
But the fact is that we are creatures of statute. The authority is a creature of statute.
Right.
That we don't work at any longer. Right. And so there are guardrails there.
Set by the legislature.
Set by the legislature, and also
who are also rank amateurs, by the way, as how electricity works.
They do have some subject matter experts in the nonpartisan staff, and I work with many of them, and they're top-notch people.
Yeah.
And then integrating that into the ISO New England regional grid,
right?
Who they actually operate the actual power now.
Okay.
But when it comes down to the distribution level, it's just there's so much to go through, and again, not just the statute, but there's also almost 100 years worth of state, U.S., and Supreme Court precedent decisions that I've identified the fact that utilities have a right to recover their prudently incurred costs,
right?
Everything they've spent on and their investments, and receive an opportunity, not a guarantee, to earn a profit. And the states, the commissions, set an authorized amount of profit that they can earn.
Mm-hmm.
And if they ever go above it, there's another legal mechanism that if they're above that rate for 6 months or more, they have to share it 50-50 with the ratepayer.
Gotcha.
And it also means they're over-earning, so we'll have them back in for a rate case to set the rates, get them back to a regular, where it should be, essentially, getting the rates right.
And I often see all these commercials paid for by the ratepayers of Eversource. I'm sick and tired of seeing Eversource commercials. I can't imagine how much we're paying for just the commercials of Eversource. We have no other choice anyways to buy Eversource. Why do they even market, for crying out loud? Does that seem prudent to you? I can't buy electricity anywhere else. Why do you have to market anything?
A lot of it is informational. They provide information there. And we have found it to be prudent over the years.
That's fair. You're the guy supposed to do that.
Yeah, that's what you're supposed to do, and make sure that it happens. So there you go.
There has to be a decent public purpose, and if they've satisfied that requirement, they're entitled to it.
Gotcha. So the ring around the bottom of the Jumbotron at UConn basketball game is a prudent reason for me to see the word Eversource as a ratepayer.
Well, it gives you it shows you where to go to talk to people about your bill.
Thanks. Don't worry, I know where to go. All right, so we're gonna take a quick break and get back to how a rate case works. And we've got Michael Caron and Kathy Piedemonte, former employees of Pura, to talk about this process with you guys. And I'm looking forward to more. So we'll be right back.
Have bad teeth that need to be replaced? Don't like removable dentures? Worry no more. Come on down to Columbia Implant Center in Manchester any day of the week and ask for the all-on-4 procedure. Call us at 860-643-1898.
Do you owe back taxes or have unfiled tax returns? The IRS won't quit until they get your money. Here's great news, fresh from those in the know. Major changes have happened at the IRS. If you owe more than $10,000, you may be eligible for a 99% reduction of what you owe. Haven't filed a return for a while? Their happy clients are talking.
The IRS was going to levy my bank account, but Guardian was able to prevent that and fix all my IRS issues. Thanks again, Guardian Tax.
Need relief from crushing tax debt? The IRS now has special programs. Guardian Tax knows all about them. Personal or business, this is the fresh new brick you've been hoping for.
We aren't the company you call when you need a hug because you're scared of the IRS. Guardian Tax is the company that wins when you need it most.
Guardian Tax Service is really great to work with. They really help me out. I'd recommend them highly.
Call now for a free confidential consultation. 800-499-1424. 800-499-1424. 800-499-1424.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-700-6898. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-700-6898. That's 800-700-6898. For $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-700-6898. 800-700-6898.
From the Carter Mario Injury Lawyer Studios, visit GetCarter.com.
That's GetCarter.com. This is Computer Talk.
All right, we are back, and we're talking electricity, making your hair hurt. with Michael and Kathy, former members of Pura. And Kathy, you wanted to bring up some of the legal requirements of how a rate case has to be looked at.
Yes, it's a very legal process that we have to go through. The company files an application. Actually, what they have to do first is file a letter of intent, letting us know that they're likely filing an application within the next 30 to 60 days, kind of giving Pura the heads up. You know, we're coming in, get ready.
We want a rate increase.
Right,
yourself.
exactly.
Brace yourself.
And then we are, or Pura is required, I'm still talking we, Pura is required to come up with a decision within a certain time period. For electric companies, it's 350 days. For water companies, it's 270 days. And within that time period, we have what's called discovery. So Pura submits to the companies interrogatories, which basically are data requesting. We looked at this, but we want more information about this particular expense, or you know, why did you spend money on this particular item? Can you give us more details? Not only does Pura have the opportunity to file interrogatories with the company, but the Office of Consumer Counsel, the Attorney General, and if there are any other interveners or parties that are part of this particular rate case, they are allowed to do so as well. So discovery can run over a period of a few months, and there may be as many as 1,000 interrogatories issued to the companies, which they are required to respond to.
Those are questions, by the way.
Yes. And to give us more information. So we don't necessarily take what they filed in the application at face value, right? We dig deeper and we look at things. And then after that, there are public hearings. So if people are concerned about a proposed rate increase by a particular utility, they will have an opportunity to either send something written into Pura, they can go to public hearings, they can voice their concern, and you know, Pura does listen to everything. Pura does read all of the comments that come into them, and take a look at that. In addition, there are also hearings that are held at Pura in the hearing room where Pura will have the opportunity to sit across from the company and dig into some of the responses that the company has provided to those data requests or interrogatories, looking for some additional information.
Gotcha.
And people are allowed to go to those as well. And then after all of that, you know, Pura looks at things. They'll issue a proposed decision.
Forget the briefs.
Yes, and briefs too.
Legal briefs.
Legal briefs, yes. Legal briefs.
Hundreds of pages.
Hundreds of pages. But
and reply briefs.
And reply briefs, yes. And then an opportunity for oral argument and all of that. But the point being, it's not just, you know, hey, Eversource is here. This is what we're looking for. Pura goes out. Oh, yeah, okay. You know, we'll give you some of this. We won't give you all of it. We'll, you know, you get this.
Right.
You don't get this. It's as I said, you know, restricted by a certain time period that Pura will have to issue its final decision.
What happens if you don't?
Then the rates that were requested in the original application will go into effect.
By default?
Yes.
So they win by default?
Yeah, there was no decision, so consequently
that
the
doesn't
application...
sound fair. The compact doesn't seem to... so why would they win by default? Why wouldn't they not win?
Well, theoretically, the authority could have looked at that application and saw no problems with it.
Yeah.
And let it go.
Gotcha.
For instance, if it were to fail, and this was a problem I had back about 4 years ago now, when the original Aquarian rate case came through, and I did vote for it, but I didn't really agree so much with the decision. My colleague, Vice Chair Betkowski, was voting against it, and my concern was putting a $48 million rate increase on the ratepayers.
Yeah.
Even though I had serious problems with that particular decision.
Gotcha. Now, you talked about this even in our last visit with you, that there's this bill coming due for storm damage.
Yes.
Of $2 billion. So the rate goes automatically if you don't do anything. Yet we can push off storm damage and pay $8 million a month? Or how many $1 million a month that we're paying?
I think it's about $8 million a month in carrying charges.
By not making a decision.
Yes.
That doesn't make any sense either.
Well, it's the time value of money.
Yeah.
So they're not recovering. So there's a cost there for the utility that they got over $1 billion, almost $2 billion hanging out there.
Right.
That they can't use for a safe, reliable system investment.
Right.
At least cost.
At least cost.
So and what the former chair was trying to do is encourage them to come in for a rate case where those costs would be ultimately reviewed, determined whether they're prudent or not, and whether they could recover those costs.
Okay.
But we could have done it, and they are doing it currently. There's an open docket currently of doing just that, reviewing the costs. Were they prudently incurred? Are they allowed to be recovered? And then how are we going to pay for that? I think there was a bill that passed last year into law that gives that allows for a securitization, that is bonding the cost of that out into some term in the future. So what is that term? Are you crossing generations? Because there's a principle about burdening other generations that had no causation of the original cost. They weren't there.
That's a thing?
That's a thing.
Doesn't seem to be a thing in our federal government or even our state government. But that's a thing?
That's a thing for utilities.
Huh.
That whoever causes the cost is responsible for the cost.
That's crazy talk.
Wow.
All right.
That's tab talk.
Yeah, let's go. Come on. I like that. So I can't believe that. That's a thing. All right. I wish we get that in other areas.
As you see,
yeah,
you can go down a lot of rabbit holes in this business.
Yes.
So you talked about a 2-foot stack of request documents, right? That come in that you guys have to review in 200 and some odd days. Of those documents, what percentage of those are mandated that you can't touch anyways by the legislature that says this rate request is coming in and we're going to do it this way, but by the way, you guys have told us that you need us to use 1,000 hamsters to spin a wheel, and that's been mandated by the legislature, so you can't touch that. What percentage of that is kind of part of these rate cases where you're stuck, unable to make any adjustments there?
So correct me if I'm wrong, but I think a lot of that is part of the public benefits charge component of the bill. Off the top of my head, and we should probably come in and talk about the breakdown of the bill sometime. Because in all the components of the bill, there are components within those components. I mean, it gets rabbit holey.
Right.
And so what is the percentage?
25%? 30%?
I don't think it's that much.
I don't think it's that much.
It might be 20-ish.
Okay. So you guys can't touch it. It is what it is. Least cost, not least cost.
Yep.
Right. Pass it on to future generations,
Power
not pass it on to
agreements,
future generations. It's just locked in.
Solar panels in the field.
Right.
We have to get a certain percentage that's required, and utility will do it very professionally, very competently.
Of course.
As long as they can recover their costs.
Right. Yeah, they're not able to make any decisions on least cost. They're just stuck with whatever they have to do.
And the past few rate cases, as we've seen, and I think as the Superior Court has ruled, a lot of the costs that were disallowed for them should have been recovered. And consequently, those decisions pushed the costs out to the future. So that rate case that I ended up, reluctantly voting for, had a rate reduction. That company hadn't been in for 10 years. There's no way that they would need a rate reduction for all the investments they put in the previous 10 years. They were prudently done. So
that doesn't sound right.
So that has to be unwound, and it's going to be. And I think we saw that this week with a remand decision from the UI rate case, I think. It's the second one. It just came out this week.
It did.
What does that mean now?
Well, it means there were some items, for instance, there were penalties put on UI in their return on equity component, that's the part where they make their profit, about English Station not being cleaned up.
Okay.
And I never thought that should have been part of the rate case in the first place. That's separate with DEP and UI, and they should deal with that in the courts.
Yeah.
But they did. So they took that out in the new remand and added a few more $1 million back. So there was another 12-cent increase on the bill.
To clean up the thing they had to clean up anyways.
Exactly. So again, didn't save anybody any money. In fact, pushed costs out into the future, which they have to pay, and then with the carrying charges that are included in some of those things.
All right. We're talking electricity. Wow. We're trying to figure out how it works here in Connecticut, or doesn't work, with Michael Caron, future commissioner of PURA, and Kathy Piedemonte, who is an examiner, a forensic accountant of electricity, if that's a thing, as well. So we'll take a quick break for news, and then we'll get back to talk more with these guys after this quick break.
And now, a WTIC news update.
Good morning, 11:30 Hartford temperature. We are at 43 degrees. We've got some sunshine out there, mixed sun at least. I'm Morgan Cunningham, WTIC 1080 News. President Trump is warning Iran to let ships pass freely through the Strait of Hormuz, the waterway through which some 20% of the world's oil supply transits. He's suggested whacking the country's oil supplies. Meanwhile, 2,500 Marines are said to be among 5,000 U.S. service members to be moved to the Middle East from Japan, a 2-week journey beginning now. Residents at the troubled Bickford Healthcare Center in Windsor Locks have to be moved out by April 10th. The state is assigning a temporary manager to oversee those transfers in the wake of Margaret Healy's death at the facility last month. Governor Lamont says Revolution Wind has started delivering some electricity to the power grid, though not fully operational. He celebrates it as a diversification of the state's energy needs, while one of his Republican opponents, Betsy McCoy, argues that it will be costlier. And a judge quashes grand jury subpoenas directed at Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell, but an appeal of that ruling will follow.
WTIC weather.
In the wake of a shower in spots this morning, we'll turn partly sunny and very windy for today. We'll have gusts past 40 miles an hour from this afternoon into the early evening. That can blow around unsecured objects outside with a high of 47. Tonight, the wind dies down, clear to partly cloudy, a low of 27 overnight. Your day tomorrow, cloudy, turning breezy, again, high 45. Then rain arrives late tomorrow night, low 35. That rain continues through the day on Monday. Could even be a thunderstorm. Gusty winds are up to 62. Behind a cold front, the rain ends as snow early Tuesday morning. A windy, colder day with temperatures falling into the 40s and 30s. And we won't get out of the 30s by Wednesday, and we're still in the 40s on Thursday with a couple of days of dry weather ahead expected for the middle and end of the new week. This is meteorologist Bill Degger in the WTIC Weather Center.
Computer Talk with Tab will wrap up next. I'm Morgan Cunningham, WTIC 1080 News.
Do you owe back taxes or have unfiled tax returns? The IRS won't quit until they get your money. Here's great news, fresh from those in the know. Major changes have happened at the IRS. If you owe more than $10,000, you may be eligible for a 99% reduction of what you owe. Haven't filed a return for a while? Their happy clients are talking.
The IRS was going to levy my bank account, but Guardian was able to prevent that and fix all my IRS issues. Thanks again, Guardian Tax.
Need relief from crushing tax debt? The IRS now has special programs. Guardian Tax knows all about them. Personal or business, this is the fresh new brick you've been hoping for.
We aren't the company you call when you need a hug because you're scared of the IRS. Guardian Tax is the company that wins when you need it most.
Guardian Tax Service is really great to work with. They really help me out. I'd recommend them highly.
Call now for a free confidential consultation. 800-499-6623. 800-499-6623. 800-499-6623.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
At LendSeek, we know running a business takes heart, hustle, and sometimes a little help. That's why we stand with you with our exclusive AI lending platform, connecting you to over 100 funders. If you've been in business for at least 2 years with a minimum annual revenue of $500,000, you can get up to $1 million in funding in as fast as 24 hours. No collateral, no prepayment penalties, no red tape. Apply today with no cost or obligation at lendseek.com. That's LENDSEEK.com.
Nighttime Neighbors, live on Saturday nights, 9 to midnight on WTIC News Talk 1080.
All right, we are back. Lots of discussion off mic. I wish I could have it all on for you guys. I'm learning a lot about electricity. We're lucky enough to have Michael Karen and Kathy Piedemonte, former folks that used to work at Pura, to talk about how a rate case is made. And Michael, you wanted to kind of get into a little bit of the the individual items as far as how the rate case goes forward, right?
Yeah, sure. So the first thing we look at once we get all the books is what were the investments they had made in the previous interim, let's say 5 years.
Yep. Capital investments.
Capital investments.
And they have a. You told me they have a range that they're supposed to fit.
That's separate.
That's separate. Okay, go ahead. I shouldn't have interrupted.
So in the rate case, all the investments that they put out there, they've spent money on.
Yes.
They're paying bondholders. That's called rate base.
All right.
So they've made previous investments that is a current rate base.
Yep.
And now they have new investments that have to be used and useful.
Mm-hmm.
They can't just be built and say, "Hey, we built that. You owe us."
Right.
Are you using it? Is there utility to the customers? Are they getting benefit from it? So once that happens, then ultimately it may very well be put into rate base, the new investment that they've already done.
There's lots of gas power plants, speaking about that just sit there for almost 350 days a year that aren't being used.
Gas power plants are different. They're actually in a competitive market.
Oh, okay.
That's
just popped into my head.
So yeah, no, it's a good question.
Idle, just doing nothing.
No, and those are peaker plants.
Yeah.
Those are for the days when there's not enough power and you don't want to brown out or blackout.
Right.
So that's why they sit there. But then, and they're paid what's called a capacity payment to be available just in case.
Yeah.
So
quite a deal.
We do have a few of those. They wouldn't say so. Sometimes they would. Sometimes they wouldn't.
Right.
Where was I? So all the new investment gets analyzed by both the OCC and PURA, and some people will work that up. Then there's also allowable expenses. How many allowable expenses are there? I mean, it's a long list, right?
Yeah. Payroll, electricity,
benefits,
insurance, some benefits.
But don't they get electricity free? They're making it.
Well, I guess I'm thinking more along the lines of a water company that needs electricity to run. Gotcha. But if you're looking at expenses in general, it's just what does it cost for them to do business daily?
Gotcha. General operating expenses.
General operating expenses, yeah.
And you guys have to determine whether it's lowest cost prudent.
Yes. Yeah.
Gotcha.
I mean, it doesn't always have to be lowest cost, but if you can show a real value proposition that you bought this truck, or let's use composite wires. They're new transmission wires that they're smaller, lighter. They last longer. They can carry more electricity or lose less voltage going down the line. And they have a larger thermal range. Those are all good things. Mm-hmm. And if they last longer than the current model of wires, transmission wires generally, then that's probably a good investment, a worthwhile investment. We would say that's prudent, and you're allowed to recover that because it's for the benefit of the ratepayers, and we think there's a strong benefit versus it degrading sooner. And
that's a very technical thing that you guys as commissioners have to realize. But you have I didn't know this. How many people work at PURA?
We think it's when I left in January, it was about 70-ish.
Yeah.
I think they're authorized for 85 or so.
So you need a lot of geeks to actually look at that technology and say, "Hey, Michael, by the way, they're using better copper. You should. This is a good idea." So they have to go review it too.
Proud geeks.
Proud geeks.
Proud geeks.
And you were even saying you can't even find enough of them.
It's not easy.
We have the same problem.
Engineers are tough to find, and you need that kind of technical ability. When I used to serve on the siting council as the chair's designee years ago, one of the board members on the siting council was a former engineer for the companies, and he was also vice president. I mean, he knew where things were, and how they worked, why they worked. But he was also a very reasonable person, and he was a great resource. So if you can find them, they're worth their weight in
Ironically, you can't afford to live here, so
Bitcoin.
we can't with electricity rates. So they can't. It's kind of a weird circle that I see there, but maybe I'm wrong.
Well, I will say this: Connecticut is at the end of almost all supply chains.
Right.
We have strong social safety nets.
Yes.
We have very strong labor laws, and end of all the pipelines. So all that adds up to being a little more expensive, a lot more expensive than other states. And yeah, it's not a flag you want to be waving a lot, but we try to control the costs as best we can.
All right. So you've got you've talked about the fixed costs that they have through their investments. They have guidelines that they have to actually meet within that. What's next?
How about rate design?
We can talk rate design.
Rate design. So rate design is a way. We talked about cost causation.
Yes.
All right. Whoever caused the cost pays the cost.
Yes.
Well, when the rates are developed, that's not always the way it works out. Sometimes commercial industrial users end up paying more than their fair share, but the residential ratepayers may be getting a little less. So there's always this tension to try to find, we use a number of 1.0. If you're at 1.0, you're paying for your costs.
Mm-hmm.
If you're paying 1.8, 2.1, you're overpaying and under 1.0.
Yeah.
So in the rate design, we try to get that as close as possible as we can to 1.0 for each of the different rate classes, which are, what are there, 4 or 5?
Residential, commercial, industrial,
Schools, churches, not
public,
schools, churches.
and well, I'm thinking again more along the lines of water, but there's public fire in water, not just electricity. So there are a variety of customer classes that you have to divvy up the pie. So that's one way that we talk about it. So Pure determines the overall revenue requirement for a company. So that's the total dollars that they're going to be allowed to collect from customers. And then when you're going into rate design, it's like, okay, how are we going to divide that pie up?
You decide that?
Yes.
Yes.
Who pays what?
The electric company doesn't care.
No,
they do.
They do.
They do.
They
They just want to get their money.
They're looking for parity. They try to be fair to their ratepayers.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay.
It's the boom thing with the mic.
I know.
They're trying to be as fair as they can to the ratepayers, but of course they're out there for their own self-interest as well. We all understand that.
Yes.
So again, we try to find, without providing what's called a rate shock to any one group. So you get them all to parity just by
making a
stroke of a pen,
right?
And just make it all 1.0.
Yeah.
But some who are paying a lot less than the 1.0 would have a real spike,
right?
And others might have a real drop. So we try to avoid and use gradualism, what we call gradualism, a gradual alignment of getting to that 1.0 parity of all the different rate classes.
So this is a kind of a thing, right? So even when I was part of the water commissioners, we found that folks who used the most water got the least rate, right? Bigger industrial concerns got a deal, which never made any sense to me. You're using mass quantities. You should pay more, as far as I'm concerned. Not in a utility aspect. You shouldn't be. We're not looking for you to buy as much stuff as you can. We're not like selling pencils, and I'm going to give you a deal because you're buying 1,000 more pencils. This is a actual resource, and so for some weird reason, people think of it as pencils, and they ended up giving them a deal. They had no other choice to buy the water. So in my opinion, they should have paid more for it. In the same way, data centers are going to be the same problem. They're going to consume mass quantities and impact our rates, and you're going to have a lot of peak plants sitting around because these guys are going to be causing lots of damage to our ratepayers. So you guys have to figure that out, where the data center is going to pay, in my opinion, hopefully 2, not 1. They really got to pay for what they're about to do.
Well, it sounds like they're probably going to pay for themselves in some way, shape, or form, or the increases to the generation and transmission that they're causing. But to your point, with those users that are using more, they also help to even out the electric day, so to speak.
Yes.
So they actually do the system a favor by being on and using so much.
Right, because it's a very balanced system.
When the demand, and you can't see us using our hands here, but there are peaks and valleys of the day. It rises during the day as people go to work, get up, go to work, and keeps rising, and then it levels, and then when people get home, it doesn't spike, but it rises a little bit, and then it starts dropping off. So electricity is not about inventory. You can't create inventory. You have to create enough electricity for the demand that's there right that moment, within a very narrow tolerance.
With battery technology, though, we could actually maybe fix that.
You could, but there's still a cost to that. But there's certainly there's a great opportunity for battery storage. Again, Pura had been working on energy storage systems solutions in a dock that they've been working on for a couple of years.
Gotcha. So all right. So now you've come up with the rate. You've divvied it all up, and you guys have decided who pays more, who pays less, right? And avoid the rate shock. Then what's the next step?
Then we determine the cost of capital.
Yes, well, cost of capital, that ends up being one of the more contentious parts of a rate case. So that's where it's determined what return on equity is going to be allowed for them to earn on that capital investment that Michael was talking about earlier. So companies are allowed to collect a return on their investment, which is the ROE, or overall ROR, rate of return. And then they're also allowed to collect a return of the investment. And how that happens is this is going to get real accounting-like on you, through the depreciation expense. So when they put plant in place, that plant gets depreciated over a period of time, over a period of what is considered the appropriate useful life for that. So in a rate case, the company is allowed to collect money for their depreciation expense. That's the return of capital. And then the ROE is the return on. And it becomes contentious because it's one of those things that's part science, part art. So Pura staff, there are financial people on Pura staff that go through all kinds of calculations using CAPM, discounted cash flow. See, this can get really nitty gritty. And Pura staff will come up with a range for an ROE. Maybe, somewhere between, I'm just throwing numbers out, 9 and 10%. The company has filed their application saying we're looking for an ROE of 10.5%. OCC will have
Office of
Consumer Counsel, right? Office of Consumer Counsel will have an ROE expert that will provide a range that they come up with for ROE. So you have all these different parties looking to see what might be the most appropriate return on equity to allow the company. And because you're dealing with hundreds of millions of dollars of capital investment, the return on it is no small part to the company, right? It's no small number for them that they're looking for recovery.
Gotcha. Do they overshoot and hope for the fair number down? I mean, where does that usually come up with that contentious fight?
Yeah, it's usually the rate cases that I've been involved with, and Kathy for that matter, they usually ask for over 10%. And it's funny when these ROEs, when you start seeing them in the briefs, everyone says, here's what we think the ROE ought to be. Everybody has the same numbers, and they have the same what are they,
the models that they
the
use.
Investment classes, and you pick the sector in which this company most matches with other groups, and they come up with different numbers. And mathematicians are very clever. And they can make a number land wherever they want it to, and so they do.
And that's where your biggest fights are.
And that's where we come in and determine, they made a good point here, but I don't buy that. And you come to something you think is reasonable and give the company the opportunity, not a guarantee, to make that profit on that rate based on the return on equity. And, in talking about the depreciation schedules, you maybe thought, for those listening, taking notes at home, we use Iowa curves.
What's an Iowa?
An Iowa curve is it sets for a particular piece of equipment how long that useful life will last, and it's decades. And it's developed at the University of Iowa once upon a time. So they're known as Iowa curves.
Sounds good. One of the odd things about the state of Connecticut was that it took Yaleys to figure out that our treasury was mismanaged by the most insane amount of mismanagement possible. Like they couldn't figure out how to make any money in the treasury, right? That's why we have billions and billions of dollars they wasted in their investments. So the Yale folks figured that out recently, and they have been exposed to say, hey, we stink at managing money. Now you guys have to do this rate work to fight with a company like Eversource, who is going to make money. They're not like our treasurer who didn't understand how to make money. They know how to make money. You guys got to fight with these guys and come up with the answer. That's quite a battle. I can imagine going up against. I mean, if you went up against our treasurer, you'd win every time. But
and just so you know, internally, we had some very robust discussions.
I'm sure you did.
About where things ought to be and what should be included or what should be excluded. And so it can be a little messy. But sooner or later, everybody walks away equally miserable, and we feel like we did a fair job.
That's exactly right. We're all miserable, Michael. We'll step up for a quick break and talk more about electricity when we get back from this quick break.
Let's take a step back in time to an era when things were built right, built to last, and a handshake meant something. Yankee Home delivers that same craftsmanship still today. It's midwinter, and you can really feel it every time you walk by your old windows. Cold drafts sneaking in, warm air slipping out, and some mornings you can see your breath inside. It's time to call Yankee Home. Yankee Home's energy-efficient, high-quality windows are designed to keep the warm air in and the cold air out all winter long. And every job is done right the first time, never cattywampus. Take advantage of our winter special. Buy 4 or more windows and get free installation or financing options like 0 down and 0% interest. Call Yankee Home now at 1-800-885-HOME. That's 1-800-885-HOME. Or visit yankeehome.com.
Yankee Home makes it easy as can be with our never cattywampus lifetime guarantee. Yankee Home.
On approved credit, restrictions apply.
When a contractor needed to quickly lock down valuable equipment on site, they called the leader in mobile storage, Eagle Leasing. We delivered a clean, watertight storage container exactly where they needed it. Call 1-800-GET-EAGLE or go to eagleleasing.com. You see us everywhere. We're Eagle Leasing.
When a contractor needed convenient office space on their job site, they called the leader in mobile offices, Eagle Leasing. The next day, we delivered a clean, high-quality office trailer and put it exactly where they needed it. Call 1-800-GET-EAGLE or go to eagleleasing.com. You see us everywhere. We're Eagle Leasing.
For all station contest rules, go to WTIC.com and click contests. That's WTIC.com and click contests.
Brian Jackman here for Serta Pro Painters. Listen, I had an incredible experience with them. They gave me a great estimate. They were there on time, and when they came to paint our kitchen, they were in and out, and when they were gone, it was like they were never there, except they left a beautiful kitchen. Maybe it's time for you to take a look at their spring sales event. You can get 10% off qualifying projects through May the 15th. Serta Pro Painters, they're independently owned and operated right here in our community, so you might want to give them a call. Start spring off right. Schedule your free estimate online at CertaPro.com. That's Serta with a C.
When you get to the office, listen to us at WTIC.com. Just turn the volume down when you get on that Zoom call.
All right, we are back, and we're talking electricity and how it works, and we're trying not to make your hair hurt with Michael Karen and Kathy Piedemonte, former workers over at Pura, and they fought and battled, and it's always been I was railing against Pura for the internet issues forever. I was like, well, why is it the state of Connecticut can't have more than 2 people doing internet? They're always the bad guy. And they could still be the bad guy, don't get me wrong, but they're actually telling you how their process is made, how they actually come up with these rates. It's not willy-nilly. It's a lot of work that these guys have gone through. And so we've learned a lot so far about this, and we want to learn more. So where else do you want to go here with this discussion, Michael?
Well, so I was just thinking about something.
Yeah.
We touched on it earlier. I said there's a bit of a mini rate case that happens during the year. It's an annual thing. It's called the Revenue Adjustment Mechanism. So when the companies are making their investments, sometimes we work with them to develop what's called a capital tracker.
Yeah.
And that means that they can collect those investment expenditures virtually contemporaneously outside of a rate case.
Gotcha.
So, and that
surprise,
will,
new increase.
But it reduces rate shocks
in the future.
In the future.
Yeah.
And the things that should be done. There's also the component of the nuclear power plant, Millstone. So that's included in that too. So they put out money. I think it's something like $12 million a month-ish. Maybe it's more than that. I think it's more than that. Now that I think about it.
It's possible.
So when gas prices are high,
natural gas,
which creates most of the electricity in New England.
Yep.
We look like geniuses because we're getting power from Millstone for 4.99 cents per kilowatt hour.
But they're only high because we have such a choke point in getting our natural gas here. We did that to ourselves.
Well, that's a different show.
But no, that's exactly the point. That's exactly the point. I hear you saying we sound like geniuses, but don't tell the legislature that because they're the reason we don't have nice, big, massive gas pipelines down here, so we can sell it on as liquid natural gas in the Sound, like we talked about 10, 20 years ago. So that's the kind of stuff that drives me nuts, Michael.
Me too.
Yeah.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
But when the gas prices are low, which they had been for the past couple of years, 23, 24, 22, we look like dopes. Because now we're paying a premium for that $4.99, but it's there.
Right.
So they are allowed to recover that in the Revenue Adjustment Mechanism docket, which is an annual docket. It starts January 1. A decision comes out in May. Rates change. Was changing in July 1 to address those costs.
Yeah.
Last year there was a surplus, so the ratepayers got a benefit and a reduction in the rates. The previous summer, I think it was 2023, the debate internally was to push. There's going to be a cost to the ratepayer.
Yeah.
We had to buy a lot of nuclear power from them.
All right.
So that was going to be a major spike in people's rates that summer. And the question and the debate was push it out 3 years or push it out 9 months. And so my colleague, Vice Chairman Bekowski, and I, we decided rip the Band-Aid off. Get it done in 9 months.
Yeah.
It's going to hurt, and it did.
It did, yeah. It still does.
But no, it doesn't, because it's done.
I'm still hurting.
That one's done because it was done in 9 months, and we would have been lambasted anyway if even if we'd done the 3 month, the 3 year rather push out.
Right.
And again, it creates carrying costs that add up over those 3 years.
So the question, I mean, we joked about we look stupid or we don't look stupid. How does it not get back? So you have this mechanism where Pure is involved and COCC is involved, OCC is involved. How does it not get back to somebody saying, hey, by the way, we would not look like dopes if you guys did open pipelines and did do this? Why is there not a mathematical, what are these ding-dongs doing in legislature to cause these issues? Because you're doing all this heavy lifting. 85 people working at Pura. There should be something you put out that says, oh, by the way, had we done this in this way, our rates would be 30% less. Why do we not get that as the people of Connecticut or as ratepayers in general? Why do you're a state agency, the Office of Consumer Counsel? Why does that not happen? Why is it just ignored? I just don't get that part of it.
It's an excellent question, and you're not going to like the answer.
I'm sure I'm not.
It's about jurisdiction. So all those pipelines are overseen by Federal Energy Regulatory Commission down in D.C.
All right.
And so they manage what we call the wholesale power and also wholesale gas.
Fair enough.
And in Connecticut, we do the retail, that is the distribution system, not the transmission system. Same with gas, the local distribution companies.
Yep.
So until it gets to Connecticut, we don't have any control over it. And getting a pipeline from either Pennsylvania through New York, through Massachusetts to Connecticut, or directly to Connecticut, that's up to those states. So that's another jurisdiction. And New York has shown no appetite whatsoever to tap their own Marcellus portion of their own portion of the Marcellus Shale, and reduce their own people's gas costs / electric costs. Right. And Massachusetts has been having this battle as well, of getting a pipeline through there. So the last thing we did towards that was, I think, the Algonquin pipeline that runs through from southwest through southeastern
I think it runs right through my neighborhood, actually.
Lucky you. They widened that pipeline about 6 years ago, I guess.
Yeah.
So the diameter is bigger, so it could carry more gas. But the other pipelines, Tennessee and the Iroquois, have not.
Gotcha.
To my knowledge.
They ran a pig down they call it a pig.
Yeah, the pig.
And they ran it down there, and they found actually some sort of leak in my neighbor's yard. And you should have seen the hole they made to fix that pipe.
Yeah, because you don't want to have a bad day.
No. That would have been a big.
Like in Bloomfield.
That's what probably happened. Yeah.
So,
okay. So I hear you on the jurisdiction. However, there should be an advocate that says these things. Had we done this, and the Yaleys figured it out for us, and it took 30 years of bad management fiscally for them to say, "Hey guys, why are we at the bottom? Where is that? Where is the agency that says, hey, if we do this, we might. We could do this if we might. Nobody's doing that, and we just act like it's normal."
So there's not an agency that does that, but there is an association, and it's the one that, most state, in fact, all state commissions belong to the National Association of Regulatory Utility Commissioners.
They're coming in next.
Otherwise known as NARUC.
Right.
And so we act, I want to say advocates for the states, but advocates for the states in trying to get the feds to identify the problems we all deal with as various regions, but various regions don't always see eye to eye as well. So you can have 24, 25 people agreeing what the problem is, but having a different idea how to solve it.
I'd love to see those ads, Eversource. Why, if you cared about us, get that association to tell us where we could be doing better, rather than whatever you're telling us now. Hey, we turned the power on.
Eric, you could be an intervener.
I could be something. I could be something. My wife won't let me. All right. So I want to thank you guys so much for being here.
Thank you.
And we'd love to have you back if there's any more you want to discuss about rates, because I think we need to understand as ratepayers how electricity works so that we can go back to our legislators and explain to them. So Michael Karen and Kathy Piedemonte, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure.
All right. And we want to thank you guys for joining us on this Saturday morning, as you always do. I want to thank Joey Burgoyne for producing for us, Mike G for posting everything over at computertalkwithtab.com and over at our Facebook pages and X pages.
And remember, we want you to be geeks too.
We will see you guys next Saturday.
WTIC News Talk 1080. Ryan and Company in the morning. Reese on the radio in the afternoon. WTIC and WTIC FM HD2